because I've been saying it and I've been talking too much, and I'm just like.
No, you've got it. Also, if Chinese is a workout, we can do chai. Chai is fine.
Okay.
It's a thing.
Cool. You guys ready?
Yep.
Right, so
Yep.
What we're gonna do, I'll say, call your chord, just say a mic check or something, 2 syllables, so you get your vocals right. So we'll start off with red.
Mic check.
Nice. Orange.
Yo, mic check. 1 2 1 2.
Yellow.
Hello.
All right. You might want to put the mic a little closer to you.
Me?
Yeah,
Me?
a little
Okay.
bit.
I still
There you
I
go.
can talk louder. I can speak with volume.
Blue.
Hello.
All right. You guys sound great. Okay. Ready to rock. I'll do 3, 2, 1. I'll start the intro music and we'll go from there.
Mhm.
3, 2.
Yeah, big talking brewskis. Marissa Smith is who you see. Water cooler combo in here. Crack a cold one, we're on the air. Big talking brewskis. Marissa Smith is who you see. Water cooler combo in here.
Hey guys. This is Big Talking Brewskis. I'm Marissa Smith. I've got Rodney Daniels with me.
What's up, guys? It's time for some big talking brewskis.
I've got Beth Maria with me.
Oh, hello.
And I have Chinesha with me.
Hi.
So, Rodney, how have you been?
I've been good, just working, and we had Fashion Be Funny last week, and that went awesome.
Yeah, it was a fun show.
Yeah, and then I just been enjoying my new neighborhood. So I recently, I moved to Brooklyn.
Yay.
So yeah, I'm loving
That's
it.
not a neighborhood, though. We're in.
I'm in Prospect Park.
Oh, you in a cute
Yes,
place?
it's
That's
so
cute.
cute.
That's cute.
The park's been great. I've been running around the park like every other
Throwing
day.
babies.
Right? But no, something crazy happened to me the other day. I got off the train. I've done a double at work on my 9 to 5. It's like 11 o'clock at night. I'm walking like the 2 blocks from the train station to my house, and there's a guy that's like right next to me pretty much like the whole time, right? So then I go into my apartment building. He's like literally like right behind me. Something like maybe he knows somebody in the building, maybe he lives here. And so then I go to walk up the stairs, and it's like, yo. And I take my headphones off. I'm like, what's up? And he's like, you want some dick? I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, I saw you walking, I just want, you want some dick, you want to suck my dick, could you do that? And I'm like, and then he starts to whip it out right there in the stairwell, and I'm like, oh, yes, I do want some dick.
Upon inspection.
Upon seeing this big dick, I was like, yes, you can totally come up to my apartment.
You know what? That's in a room full of women. That whole story, except for the very end, was very relatable.
Well, no, listen, I get to the end when I'm actually giving this guy head. He was like, I saw you walking down the street, and all I could think was, I want to nut on your pretty face.
Aw, that's
And I
the
was
sweetest
like,
thing
wow,
about it.
yeah. So then I let him nut on my face. It was great.
That's so not how my story would have ended.
I would have maced somebody.
He followed me down the block. Like, no, left turn. Choose your own ending. That's not how it would have
Someone
happened.
approaches me as I'm going into the door, asks me to take off my headphones. I have a rape alarm. My mom got it
What's
for
a
me.
rape alarm?
So since I've been out in the city since I was a teen on my own and working late nights, and no, I wasn't a stripper. I don't know why you looked down on my tit just now. But I used to make makeshift mace. I used to get Banaka spray, and I would put Clorox, Listerine, other shit in it, and I would just carry it around with me. It's very necessary. And so I have altered that over the years. I don't do that anymore, but I have different, my mom was trying to get me weapons because I moved out of borough from her, and she can't handle that. So she's like, you need more weapons. And I was like, cool. But I can't. I was trying to check to see what was legal, what was not, because I really don't want to get caught with something stupid when I could go around it.
And have something legal, yeah.
So she got me this thing, and it looks like a car unlock thing. So it's the same size as that. It goes
Right.
on your keys. and the keychain to connect it is a pin inside of it. So all you have to do is reach it and grab it, and that thing does this like really, 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 really high pitch, like gives you a headache.
Yeah.
Loud, high pitched sound. So at the very most, it startles people away.
Right, or something's happening. People will
and
hear
I have
it.
imagined that I can make up that it calls the cops. Like that's what that's what I picture.
Or maybe
saying.
they'll think that it just called the cops.
Yeah, like whatever it is, it confuses people because it does often come apart and confuse people.
Oh shit! No, I'm not being raped. I'm just on the A train. Fuck! I gotta find my keys.
You know how many conversations I have to have about women's safety with people who are either really excited to learn more about it, or like guys who are like, I've had a guy say like, really, that's not gonna do anything, and I was like, you know what, bitch, don't make me pull this shit again on you right now. Why is that your reaction?
Right.
Yeah, it's been interesting. It's what I got to protect me. That and my wits.
So, Chai, how's your week been?
It's been a week. Is it a week yet? It's been 4 days. That's what it feels like. I feel like the world is imploding constantly.
Yeah.
I'm also a freelancer, so my days are either I have lots of things to do, or like this week I'm like, I have casually all the time just to sit on Facebook and watch the world implode and set on fire.
I like watch an entire season.
You know what?
In a day.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's been that. I did Game of Thrones, and I've watched all of the Game of Thrones, so I know all of the dragons and things. It's not a thing you should do. I basically did it in a 40-hour work week, where that was my job one week, where I learned Game of Thrones.
Honestly, that is a job. Well, you're in film, right?
Yeah. So it's research. So I'm going to write it off my taxes.
Exactly. That was a work week.
Whenever I get sick, like, because, like, during the winter, like, I got, like, a little, like, flu-y kind of thing. And so, like, I rewatched Game of Thrones. I feel like that's, like, but you got to start from like season 1 and like go all the way through. But I feel like every time I watch it, there's stuff that I'm like, wait, I don't remember that, or something makes way more sense later. Like, because like
It has to, because the truth is, when you watch that, you're like, this shit doesn't make any sense. Like for the first like 7 episodes, they don't even explain how anybody's connected. They just flash back between
There's so many
different
names. They're just
worlds
say
and names, and you have to like remember when you last saw them in the episode before. It's just like, and then they start to connect, and then that's where your penis gets hard, because you're like, oh, they know. Oh, they're interacting.
yeah.
I've never seen it.
So your penis is flaccid.
Yeah, it's soft as motherfucker right now.
So Beth, how was your week?
So what happened to me today was I was supposed to get work done. I was supposed to get work done that was me scheduling my own work. And I told myself I was going to go to the library and do some writing and do work.
So like
So
throwback,
great.
vintage, like.
Yes, vintage. I have a time management person that is helping me with a schedule and like techniques. Anyway, I was going to go this morning. Didn't I know that the world was going to throw a perfect excuse at me? So I get knock, 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 knock. And I'm thinking, who knows I live here? Who am I about to face? It's my super's wife.
Oh.
And she's like, I'm sorry to wake you, but there's a leak. She lives downstairs from me. She's like, there's a leak in our apartment. Maybe you have something running. And I was like, I said no, even though I hadn't been in the bathroom yet. I was a little drunk still. But I was like, all right, go look. A full bubble is forming with the paint job. It's holding in bubbles of water like sacks, like this man that you got with the other night.
Yeah.
Sacks bigger than that.
Okay.
Just hanging from the
It's a big
ceiling.
sack then.
And I'm looking, I'm like, fuck. And so I capture it in a bucket, and it is not clear.
Oh god.
Oh.
It's not brown.
Oh no.
But it's not clear.
Like a yellow?
It's yellowy.
Does the it smell?
That
It
happened to me
didn't
earlier in the year.
smell.
Okay.
But I used to live in a basement apartment, and I used to be like, it doesn't smell. It's just regular water. And I'd be like, oh, I'll just be barefoot while I clean it. And I was like, no, actually, it's just like when you flush the toilet, it's like gallons and gallons of water and just like a little bit of shit. So by the time it gets through to you, it's just like kind of discolored.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But it's still shit water.
so
point
yummy.
is, I don't know if it is or not.
Okay. Right.
Okay, I ate an egg sandwich on the way here because I'm still frazzled. But what I do, but the information I put together on the way here is, this is the information I got. The guy upstairs, they can't get into his apartment. They don't have the key. I don't know why. He told me it's the only guy that they don't have a key in the whole apartment. He might have changed his locks and never given the key, right?
Right.
He's an old man
Oh no.
and he's deaf.
Oh, there's a dead guy upstairs.
Oh God! Go back to 2 weeks ago. That happened to me. The guy across the hall from me died.
No.
And he was dead in his apartment for 9 days.
No, he didn't.
My super called me and was like, "Do me a favor. Let me know if you smell something funny."
No,
like, in the hallway."
do me a favor.
And I was like,
9 days, get a key.
Right. I was like, yeah, if it smells like a dead mouse or something. He's like, no, we think it's a dead body. It was. The police had to come. They knocked down the door. The guy was like 6'2" or something like that. It literally took 4 grown men to carry him out in a stretcher.
That's just like an instantly I break my lease, like I get all my money back.
You know
I
what's
get to leave.
it's so great that you just said that. Do you know why though? Because, and this might be like in a sick way, not that now I figured out this guy is dead. Plus, I'm picturing him dead in the bathtub with like water overflowing.
Oh my God, that would give me nightmares.
It's dead person water that's overflowing into
bloating.
my...
Oh
He
God.
bloated.
So nasty.
The body, Melissa, that's what you're thinking of?
Yeah.
She's thinking of the body. She did right.
Hopefully it absorbs as much as possible, so no more comes into
Because
my
you're thinking
head.
about the TV version of what the body's gonna look like. She's like the real life CSI version.
It's just like, yeah, that's going to be
Pooped on himself in his sleep and died in the tub.
Oh my God! The last poop I'll ever have is coming down into my apartment right now.
Oh, poor
Oh God, no! It's decaying flesh that's like in the water.
I hate that
that's
we
coming.
buried this
Oh my
man.
God.
Buried this man. He could
Right,
be
'cause
fine and
he
just
could
like
be
watch
totally
it.
fine.
Listen, we're
Like a
about
pipe
to
could have
find out.
burst in between
Does
the
he
two
have like a
apartments and we don't
cat
know.
or
Pretty
a
much.
dog or anything
We're
like
about
that?
to find out because this is okay. My super, who is awesome, used to live in my apartment before he moved downstairs with his family, like before I moved in, right? So he's like helped me out, like he knows like the ins and the outs, right? So we're friendly. He just texted. They were all obviously the plumber. Everyone was supposed to come early afternoon, and I stayed home all day. I guess I just
Back to you. Like this is why you were able to just stay home all day.
I just stayed home and maybe I watched almost the entire season. Finished the entire season of Luke Cage. I have a lot to say about. But he just texted me and said, and I probably shouldn't admit this over the airwaves. He just texted me. So I was like, let yourself in. Like, I can't be home. I gotta go. Whatever. Please, like, if it, like, explodes everywhere, just, like, can you please, I left Clorox wipes, like, please. And so he texted me, oh, it's fine. Like, it went right into the bucket and da-da-da-da. Now there's a bucket full of decay flesh in my... And by the way, I'm not
Fresh
sleeping
water.
home tonight,
Fresh
so I'm not
water.
going to see that bucket of flesh for...
A couple of days.
I might just move. I might never go back. So he just texted me and said, can I go through your window to get on the balcony? Because I'm the first floor that has balcony. Fire escape. Yeah.
Oh,
He's like, can I go up
shit.
the fire escape? Because, we were trying to see, like, is this guy fucking dead? He didn't say that. He didn't say that.
But you know that's what the innuendo is.
Right.
Because
He's an old man.
he's an old man. Literally, but still, like, he
And he
has
keeps
to have,
a
like,
schedule.
a phone
and
or
apparently
something.
my landlord keeps track of him. And I always wonder, I always feel like, watching me every move. I feel that everywhere, but I feel that in my building because there are cameras on each floor going in like either side, right?
Right.
Someone else said to me, oh, the owner said he comes home from swimming at 6 every day. I don't know how he knows that. And I was just like, he does watch us. Anyway, so he said, can I go up your fire escape? After an entire sweaty month of summer in New York City, he just decided to go against the law and put an AC in my in my bedroom, even though it's the only one to the fire escape. I just did that. And by the way, like, I think this guy's cool enough that he won't be like, report me to the police or anything.
Right.
But report to the landlord. But that took me a long time to install that shit and tape that shit up. Like, I don't want him ripping that out right now while I'm not home. And
Oh God! And why it's still 90 degrees
so
outside?
I told him, go to my neighbor. Can you please go to my neighbor and go
Right.
through the fire escape, because I just have so much. There's just so much stuff in my room. There's
my room.
dildos everywhere.
I don't want you to see what's in my room.
I was just like, there's cocks. Please don't go in there.
How much
There's
money
oodles of
do we
cocks.
bet that he's just like, let me just look in here?
No,
Even if
he's
it's on the window.
been looking in
Yeah.
there.
He's
Yeah.
definitely like taking a peek
He
before he
has
leaves.
rolled around in my sheets already, for sure.
Does this old guy have any pets though?
I don't know much about the old guy.
Because if he's got a cat,
It's licking it up.
Oh, the cat eats your face
yeah,
off.
the cat eats your
It's making me
face.
very nauseous.
But see, that's why I would not. I've lived in apartments by myself, and I'd rather have roommates. I feel like.
Oh no, that's exactly how I'm gonna die. Like I'm gonna die alone after like 2 weeks.
choking on your own Chinese.
Yeah.
I don't go
random.
Yes, she's gonna die. I'm gonna die alone. I don't like go to an office every day. I am in my apartment. Even when I go out to like work at a cafe or something, nobody knows that I left or came. So like my family won't know. My friends won't know. It'll be like 2 weeks. Like I haven't seen her in like 6 months. We should call her.
Honestly, she's such a free spirit. It's like, don't overwhelm her. Like,
She's
don't
fine.
even
She'll
call
be
her.
fine.
She's fine.
Nope.
Meanwhile.
That's why I got like 3 other roommates. They know. I see them. They see me. If I go a couple days.
I'd rather die than have a stranger share my dishes.
Yep.
I really.
Yep.
I don't want to. When I even go to a friend's house that I like I'm so close to, my heart is connected to their heart. Sometimes I squat over the toilet.
Oh, I do that.
You know what I mean? I don't want to sit on a toilet where somebody's sitting on a toilet. I just can't.
Like-
Listen, I know this. You can't
No,
relate because
'cause-
you just fucked a stranger in the lobby of your apartment building.
Hold on. I had dignity and brought him into my apartment. He just pulled his dick out in the stairwell. That is what happened. He pulled his dick out in the stairwell.
The preview was the stairwell.
Yeah.
Upstairs was
And
the
then,
final show. Got it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
In my apartment, like privately in my room.
I'm just a germaphobe, and it comes from a real place because I have a blood disorder and I have no spleen, so I actually have a low immune system.
Right.
Oh wow.
And I know, it's so weird. I realized that
never knew
after
that.
7 years of doing comedy and talking about all types of things, I never said that I have blood disorder on stage, even though I talk about
Wow.
real life all the time.
Right. Yeah, because like I've known you for a while and I've never known that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's just annoying because once a year, basically anytime I get a fever, anytime I'm a normal person and just have a regular fever, they have to treat it as if I'm dying.
Okay.
So I get hospitalized for a really long time. It's like expensive. It's lengthy. It actually ends up making me feel worse, and it ends up being unnecessary, but it's precautionary.
Right.
And I just had that happen to me. I had to cancel like a bunch of shows, and I was more pissed that I had to cancel a bunch of shows than anything else. I was
Right.
like, and so I just decided like I have no more rope left to give with this, and I have to like tackle it psychologically because it's been fucking with me since I was a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Well, I feel like getting on stage and then talking about it will help.
yeah, well,
with that.
I have like 15 or 20 minutes worth of material on germophobia, but I talk about it as germophobia, and ever since I've decided to talk about it as having a blood disorder, it's not as funny to the audience because it's less relatable.
Oh,
When I
'cause
talk
it's just
about being like, ooh, you know, when you're on the subway and it's like sweating, I'd rather fall onto the tracks than touch a stranger.
Right.
That's like one of my
Yeah.
When I say that, people are like, so funny. But when I'm like, I have a blood disorder and I'd rather fall on the tracks than touch a blood disorder, people are like, oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. yeah.
Hear that.
damn.
You know, so I
Right.
gotta see where it goes. I gotta see where it goes.
It's hard because like I've had like bits where like I've flatlined twice in the same day, and like
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
What's that?
So I was eating ice cream and
Oh no.
oh no, it's a spinster story. Like we were fearing. You were alone in your apartment. No, I was in college in the dorm. No, I was in the cafeteria in college, and I got pistachio ice cream, and I'm not allergic to pistachios, but apparently I am deadly allergic to Brazil nuts. and they use Brazil nuts instead of pistachios in this ice cream.
In pistachio ice cream?
In pistachio ice cream.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Which honestly, Brazil nuts help fight HIV. Another note, but in this case, they were horrible, and I usually hold them up to the highest regard. Not today. Not today. Not with you, Marissa.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that.
So, like, you know, I'm in the calf. I had like 2 spoonfuls of ice cream, and all of a sudden, like, whole room goes sideways, and like I like fell off my chair, and I didn't know what was going on. But my friends are like, all like, oh, it's Marissa, it's joking around, and I'm like, no, like I can't breathe, and so like I didn't have an EpiPen, and like I only had like the tablet Benadryl, but my throat was too swollen to take it. So like my roommates brought me back to my apartment, and like I had liquid Benadryl there, but by the time like I got in the apartment, I passed out. So then they went and they called 911. The only reason why I know any of this is because like my roommate came with me in the ambulance. So they got like put me on oxygen. They put me in the ambulance. They gave me epinephrine because like I was like going into like anaphylactic shock, but they gave me too much epinephrine, which gave me a heart attack.
Oh my God! This is
like
so bad.
Like so, I had a heart attack in the ambulance. Then they revived me with the paddles, got me back, and then my heart was like still going like too fast from the epinephrine. So they gave me something to slow my heart down. Gave me too much of that, and it stopped again.
Was it their first day?
Like it must have been.
like, sorry, that was just like, wait. Again,
all the college students on their rounds, like, how many ways can we kill her?
Yeah. So like I literally
They just smoked a bowl.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
So like literally I flatlined like twice in like one day.
Interns.
You know, and I woke up in the hospital like 3 days later. I didn't know what the fuck was going on. And like I just like started like when I woke up, I'm like, what the fuck? And I at first I thought it was like a prank because like the guys next door used to like prank us, like duct tape us and stuff like, when we were sleeping, and so I just thought it was a prank, and I just started pulling shit off. And so then I hear like people running down the hall, like the door swings open, and like I'm near the crash cart, and they're about to get the crash cart, and I can't talk because I have a tube down my throat, and so they're
Can't even show them that you
no, I can't even.
They think you're just dying.
Yeah, and
No, don't tell me what they do. Don't tell me 3 times.
No. It was
tell me
only
they do
twice.
something
It was only
terrible to
twice.
you. Okay.
So like literally, like I can't talk. So I just fling my arm over my chest and I shake my head and I'm like, and they're like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, and they're like, "Can you talk?" And I point to the tube and they're like, "What did you do?" And I'm just like, and they're like, "You can't do that." And I'm like,
You're like, all right, I get it.
yeah, and
Fuck you, bitch. Didn't you guys kill me twice?
yeah.
Right.
So
I'm out of here now.
Don't reprimand me.
For everyone who didn't see all the amazing pantomimes, she just let them know she's safe. She waved them down.
I ripped it out myself.
Oh, yeah, good
As
catch.
I'm watching, I was like,
like,
oh, wait a minute, they don't know what's
So like it was intense, and so like I had a bit about it, and I was just like, you know, like I know that when you guys look at me, you're just like, wow, she looks like really like laid back and chill, but at the same time she looks completely uptight and intense, and I'm like, that's because I flatlined twice in one day. Like, you know, so part of me knows that like all of life is meaningless and we're nothing but a grain of sand of time, but another part of me knows Ben and Jerry's tried to fucking kill me.
Oh
like,
my God.
it just like some people are like,
I get it.
like,
I mean,
you know what I mean?
I'm laughing.
But like we have a fucked up
know
center.
you.
Oh my God. If you can't trust ice cream, what can you trust?
Right? I wish it was something cool,
I mean,
like,
To be
oh,
perfectly honest, after you turn 30, you can't trust ice cream.
serious? Yeah, exactly.
I can't even kind of just say the dairy does repeat on me.
You know,
Yo,
the
it was
dairy
like-
does things to the dairy.
Yes.
What?
2 bites in, I would have been in the same situation probably. It's like not fun.
No, but it's
So sorry.
but I wish it was like something fun, like, oh yeah, I was doing like lines off of like so much dick. It's like no, I ate ice cream. Like,
Did you already know you were allergic to Brazil nuts, or is it
No.
just so obscure?
no, because like I never ate Brazil nuts.
Who eats? But nobody eats
It's
Brazil
Brazil
nuts
nuts.
on like. A,
More people with HIV should, though. That's my main PSA here,
Yeah.
guys. It
how did we
really
discover
helps.
this? How does this? A thing?
Through HIV research. It's like nutrition is such a big part of keeping your levels correct, and Brazil nuts have like a shitload of nutrition that specifically people with HIV lack.
That's fantastic. I mean, not that but
No,
like
HIV
that
is
there's
great. I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal. That
We all got exactly. We all
Right,
picked up what you were
that's
putting
But it's
down.
just like
Yeah.
just get a box of mixed nuts and everyone's great. Like,
Yeah.
that's the
No,
cure phrase.
it's not the cure, but yeah, it keeps people healthy
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
majorly.
That's awesome.
No, I had like no idea. But like because when you get the mixed nuts, the Brazil nut is literally the hardest to open, and so like it's like I would try once with it.
What
and
is
I'm
a
like, fuck
Brazil
it.
nut with the nut? I hate to sound bougie, but I'd never seen a Brazil nut with the shell on.
It's like
Yeah, no, it
it's
has
like
like
a dark brown.
It's
It's
a terrible name. It
Yeah.
has a terrible alternative name that I was told. That
Oh,
I won't repeat,
yeah,
but it
yeah.
it's
Racist?
Oh.
It's
Yes,
completely
very
racist.
racist.
Of course, it's
It's
really
racist.
racist.
Can we just say it, please?
and
Like, just
toes.
Google it. Just Google it.
No,
Just
I
Google
don't wanna
Brazil
hear
nuts,
it.
and then
and toes.
And toes.
entos, like the people who are often derogatory with that word derogatory.
Like the end of something?
No, like the N
the
word.
letter N.
And there it goes.
Oh yeah, there. He said it.
Ronnie wanted to go there.
I was like, the end of toes? Like, is there a population that has like really
like
fucked
end-
up
end
toes
toes?
Yeah,
specifically?
no, and toes. Like,
Oh,
the
because they're
N-word.
black and stubby.
Yeah.
I got you.
You got it. Look at
I
you
did.
getting it.
You know, I usually do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
In the
so.
stairwell of my building.
You want some dick?
You want some dick?
Thank you.
What?
I love
How did you know that?
the build up that is like, and then it was like a horror movie. And I guess that's
And
your
we're just like, oh
comedic
my
genius.
god.
I know.
You're gonna get raped on the stairwell.
Each of us are like, oh my god, it does happen to men. We're not alone. We shouldn't count them out. Even it really happens to men too. It's not just a women's. Oh no, he took it.
No, I was
and,
like,
and enjoyed it.
I
And it
want
was
some
lovely.
dick.
And he
Absolutely.
was into it.
Come up to my
He
apartment.
got
Let's
some
go.
Brazil nuts on his face.
Right. Oh, that's what you want to do? That's what you was thinking about? Guess what? Your dreams is coming true. It's your lucky day.
I hope that you're getting sponsored by 6 Point because the brand alignment to the camera is on point. Look at
So
that.
we're-
It's
6
clear.
Point if
We're
you're
not,
listening.
but-
We're not, but 6 Point if you're listening.
6 Point if you're listening.
6 Point.
I like most of these things in the brand pack, but not all. So send better ones. Okay.
So now, Beth, how do you choose love?
Oh, that's a segue.
Oh yeah, that was the choose love situation is occurred to me after Charlottesville when the Nazis were planning rallies around the country, like in response. Like it was like, oh, look at this horrible thing that happened, and the tiki Nazis. And they're like, oh, of course they wouldn't have the balls to do anything. And then there was like an announcement that they were going to be in New York at Washington Square Park. They're going to be in San Francisco. So that weekend. And I was just dumbfounded. And Washington Square Park is like my heart park. I spent many a days gazing. And I was sitting in there after that happened, and I was like, how do I counteract this? Because the truth is that when all this hate that's happening, whether it's against any group of people, is hate. And so to counteract hate with hate doesn't work as much as it feels good. And also the answer, like all this debate was happening. It was like gay people couldn't get cakes, and black people were getting fucking told that they had to keep oppressive statues up, and just people, just like it was a time period where like as it still is, like 7 different groups there was a debate whether or not like we should give women health care. It's still happening, obviously, but it was just like the answer to all of your legislative debates is choose love. Just choose the loving fucking choice. What do you want to do when people, refugees, asylum seekers are cannot turn back? Just choose the loving choice. I don't care. Like blue, red, green, like that. All these things are made to label and divide us and make us look at each other weirdly. And honestly, I'm on that side. I hate that. I hate them. But I'm trying to cleanse myself to. How do we convert people who are making hateful statements and hateful choices based on like odd following, like people who are just following? They're just following what they know, what they've heard, what they're afraid to speak up in their communities. And I haven't had to deal with that. I was born and raised in New York, and I was in an extremely progressive, politically active, unionizing, multicultural community and family. So I lived in a liberal bubble, but I have to start realizing like people live in the same bubble in the opposite way. And like, what do? So the We Choose Love movement for my own self is every time it was the exhaustion of hearing debates on Facebook on the news and just being like, choose the loving choice. Just choose. That's your answer. Choose the loving choice. So that weekend in Washington Square Park, I made this big photo booth that just said, we choose love. Hate has no home here. And I put it in front of the arch. Mm-hmm. And I figured tourists are going to come. And I wanted people from all around the world to understand it, because we didn't even have that much satire happening, that much strong satire as we do now, where like the world knows that we don't want this we don't want this at all.
Right.
I wanted the tourists here to come in and know that this doesn't represent us, and I wanted the neighborhood to know that we're united. So I set up a free photo booth for people to take pictures under this thing in hopes that they would then share it, and people from all over the world would just normally share their vacation photos, right, and just have it in there. And it's red, white, and blue, and it's very patriotic looking. And so since then, I've set up a little page. It's it's not blowing up or anything, but the idea is the message that I'm trying to convey all the time is that you have to choose the loving choice. And it's really hard, and I have to say, my posts have been a lot slower lately because mainly I'm just like, I'm trying to find something good. Because I don't want it to turn into, like, hate on the current administration. I'll put that on a different page. I'm trying to make it welcoming to people who don't automatically shut off to, like, oh, this is a person who's blue, or this is a person who feels this way. Just, like, welcoming to all, so then you can trap them and change them.
Does that help, though? Have you found that that's been helpful, that you engage them and they have legitimate conversations with you?
I had a few that happened that day in person, and I had people say really fucked up things to me. I did the same. I did a similar installation for Black Lives Matter, where I just got so overwhelmed by the debate of it all when it first started becoming popular, and I was like, it's not up for debate. It's a statement. I have no response other than your premise is wrong. This is not for us to debate. So I had a sign and I wrote it in the Black Lives Matter font, and I just wrote Black Lives Matter. This is not up for debate. I sat in front of the Bronx bound trains on 14th Street and I held it up, and I had like fucking Long Island douchebag seeming guys say really crazy shit to me. I also had plenty of people who thought I was saying the opposite just because of that it was me holding it, because they just saw it really quick and thought. So I had people. It caused a lot of intense reactions, and I was by myself, and it opened up so much conversation. With the people who actually were hate criming me in my face, had less pull in, because it was kind of like, but I had like other people who just joined in with me to stand with me when they saw other people doing that. Mm-hmm. So yeah, when the We Choose Love, there was a donation box, and it was towards the Human Rights Campaign, which is gay civil right group, and this like turn Nazis into regular people nonprofit that became popular right after Charlottesville, like where it's like an ex-Nazi, an ex-white supremacist came out of it and realized that, like, he can actually change those people and convert this. It was like a little controversial, but like he targets people who are already in that community to give them the resources to pull out of it. So the money was going towards that, and someone who read my sign had a lot to say about gay rights to me. And I exchanged phone numbers with him, and I had like a four-day back and forth with him about like, and I just try to stay as even-keeled as possible. And eventually, I mean, I was exhausted, and I decided I didn't want to keep having the conversation, but I would like to think that just having someone who is willing to actually have a conversation with him, who has an opposing feeling for an extended amount of time and have somewhat of a friendly conversation make some impact.
Yeah, so bud that opens up a little
do you, so like, this sort of like reminds me of a saying that like my great grandmother and grandmother would always say is, don't cast your pearls among swine. Mm-hmm. And so like, do you feel like, and I've known you for a long time, and I know that you're very passionate about this, and like, you know, you're very inclusionary, and like this is not something that's passe for you. Like this is like a passion and a life's direction. But like, do you think that your energy would be better well spent trying to organize people that are already of a like mindset than people that are already I guess my trash, I guess, is the problem.
trash. Right.
As much as I think the actual question, I have an answer for the question. I think my actual actions were never to both of those two examples, let's say, were not to show other people how to specifically change, but to make a public statement of how I genuinely feel, and allow others to react how they want, no matter if they disagree or they agree. And for it to be inclusionary in the We Choose Love thing is like, come in to this space, and so many people are drawn to that idea, and then once you say, well, that idea is this, these topics, these are the choices that you have to make to show that you are choosing love. And honestly, it attracts more people, like-minded people. It's really not. It's not like the turning the Nazis over into non-Nazis nonprofit. That makes my stomach turn for a lot of reasons, and that type of approach wouldn't be my life's work by any means. I'm training to be an art therapist, and I think all the time, like, I make all these public statements all the time. I have had to deal with the fact that my voice is public, and my words are on record, and all this stuff. And I know that I will be limiting clients that might see it and might feel differently. People might only be attracted to me that already have my views. But I also have to be true to my art and just see what happens. And so that's in those statements, when I make those demonstrations, I'm really just being as true to myself. Like the other one that I've been planning is a dress that I have that makes me kind of look like, it's a stupid bridesmaid dress. Okay. That I have that is like the color of the Statue of Liberty, and it's one shoulder, and it's like all ruffled and flowy and gross. So I want to do that, and I've been collecting how you say we are family, and now I have 38 languages confirmed, because I wanted to get them confirmed by people who live there, not just Google Translate. Right. Because sometimes it could be like, we are family, and what you're saying is like, you're my mom. Yeah. What up, Pop? Right. And like, I want to send a battery park, and I want to have a scroll that says all of that, because I feel like I had a passion to I walk around New York City, and I see all these tourists, and I'm like, what are they thinking we're thinking? what did you think? And I have a unique place because I also look like I could be on the other side of this, just from my face, just from my
I was just going to ask, you present as a white woman, so do you find that being in that body, it's important for you to be performative in that way, or is it something beyond just this physical body representing these kinds of views?
I think it took me a long time to call myself that, not because I'm technically anything else, but because it is a construct. Because I have a lot of material about it because I'm from New York. I'm from ethnicities that are recent immigrants that have been, persecuted and not considered white for a long time. And I realize that it is my duty to my loved ones of color to recognize my privilege. So I've started to allow myself to call myself that, because not call myself that, but acknowledge my space and acknowledge the space that I take up, acknowledge what I have gotten without having to work for it, and the struggles that I have, that there are real struggles that white people have to deal with, like, being assumed a racist or being assumed non-woke or whatever, but
plus you're a
also
woman.
hey,
too, like,
like that's not too bad. Like I worked with a lot of trans women and a lot of black trans women, and I was assumed straight and white and from Ohio. and because I worked as a therapist, you don't give up yourself. You're not supposed to. Once you bring your shit into the space, it's no longer serving the other person. So I had to swallow not seeming on there, knowing them. I had to swallow all of that. And I told myself, like, there was someone else that felt this similarly, that was just like, it's like, I'm just assumed the oppressor in this space. And it's just like, no, you can, like, yeah, you can, once I realized that if I felt excluded in super queer spaces when I was assumed I wasn't, or super people of color spaces when I was assumed I wasn't, I would just have to say, like, that helps me work towards empathy to what this exact group of people experience every day. And, like, every time I feel out of place by somebody who is normally oppressed, I feel like I'm, like, at the very least, it's teaching me a lesson that they have to swallow this so much more than I do. And, like, I have other people who are telling me, like, yeah, but you should, is that right? Like, maybe you should, in the long scheme of things, if I've had a better break at things, I'll take my punches if they're not going to kill me. Right. Some punches kill people.
Right.
These punches aren't killing me.
It's like, and granted, like, I don't have to, that's a space that I don't have to, like, walk in, is people assuming that, like, I'm a Trump supporter, or, because
when you're more Republican than anyone else in this room.
I'm not Republican.
She picked the red mic. It makes
like,
go ahead, sorry.
I just don't believe in socialism, but fuck that orange bastard. I can understand it, because, like, I always think that it's strange. Like, sometimes, like, on dating apps, like, I'll have, like, for the longest time, I didn't put, like, no Trumpers on my dating app, because I just assumed I'm a black woman. Like, of course I'm not a Trumper. Like, what are you doing? Like, literally, like, 90.
But there are black women that are Trumpers.
There's two of them.
There's two.
And they're sisters.
Omarosa and
I know those women.
Silk and Diamond.
Yo, man, I don't get how you get that far. Like, how does that happen?
A lot of self-hate.
I mean, but, like, what's the price tag on the?
It was much less than you thought.
Yeah,
but he's like $2,500.
If you ever look at these "I'm Still President" rallies that he does, which is, like, unprecedented.
Right, like
They have often, they'll have like just one or two black people like scattered, which is first of all a big red flag. Like they're with those other people.
They're seat fillers.
They took them and they arranged them behind him and write blacks for Trump. And to say blacks for Trump, that's another sentence.
We say that all the time.
Yeah. Blacks for Obama. That wasn't going on.
Yeah, that was.
I'm surprised it doesn't say the blacks.
Yeah,
Right.
Blacks.
He loves that.
The blacks for Trump.
Okay,
Even Omarosa is
Omarosa
out of his orbit now. But like, so like I kind of like I thought it was like very weird when I had like some people that like had pictures with them with like Ivanka and Jared, and I'm just like,
on your dating apps, you see this?
yeah.
Who would put that on their fucking dating
People
app?
who are attracting no homos, no blacks dating app.
Yeah.
But you're swiping on me. It's like.
It's part of the kink. It's like, let's see how far this can go on this date.
Yeah, it's like, so like, you know, because I like for Bumble, I pay for Bumble just because like it's easier to see who likes me, and then I had to like do all this like swiping shit. I'm like, oh no. So like I look sometimes at these like people that are like liking me, and it's like they're like literally like black tie with like Ivanka and Jared, and then it's just like, and I'm like, are you
Screenshot and just make those internet trolls that now get people fired attack them.
Like,
you've noticed that? Like, it started off when someone would do something horrible caught on tape.
Right.
It would be like they started to be like, oh well, we figured out where this person works, and then like people would try to harass, and then maybe it would work. At this point, it's like fucking instantaneous. As soon as that video goes over 100,000 views, it's like you click on one of those videos that's already over that view, and they're like, this person's been fired, it doesn't represent us. I'm like, yeah,
But it's like all the kids who hang out on Reddit have now moved to YouTube, and like we've got a whole new crop of things to search through.
Right.
Yeah.
Doxing, but doxing for the right reasons now, at least.
docs. And what is that?
So basically on Reddit, it's like usually it's like to attack women who said things that they didn't like, and then they like find their name and address and make their lives miserable and stalk them is really terrible, and like publish this on the internet so that other people could make their lives miserable.
Right.
But now it's like racists and terrible human beings are being doxed and being like, you shouldn't really have a job where you have control over other lives if you're going to be terrible.
tours, yeah.
So yeah, exactly.
So now, you're in the film industry.
Yeah.
So how has the Me Too movement like been changing the film industry, or has it at all?
What a giant question for you. I hope it doesn't hurt your shoulders too much.
I'm going to fix all of
Well, I'm not saying how to fix it, but like
No,
how is it
sure.
affecting it? Yeah.
I mean, I know that. I mean, there are people who are working very hard, and I have friends who work alongside the Me Too movement and with Tirana and doing that kind of work. So absolutely, there are people who are on the ground and making impact. But I also know that every single day, as a brown lady with a vagina on set, like my life is unchanged. So there are, as long as there are men, especially white men, who run things on sets, my life has not been any different. So
right.
Have you noticed that it's not that different, except for the fact that they go, oh, what? Can I not do that anymore?
that's it basically is like their hands are up. They're in like please don't shoot, but also doing all the terrible shit that they always do. So that's kind of the
They're like, I bet your pussy's like that. Oh, I'm sorry. Was that too much? Was that? Oh, I'm sorry because of PC culture.
absolutely accurate.
Why did I went right into Colbert's version voice for Trump. That's the voice I just decided.
But that's how it sounds.
It does sound like that.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I'm such a jerk off.
I don't know. It just seems like such a strange kind of thing because partially it feels like this has been going on in the film industry since the dawn of film. Then I also feel like now this is where like I'm always like questioning because I feel like there has to be and this is going to be like my own like I guess like woman of color feminist kind of thing coming out on this, but like
How
dare you?
How dare I? How dare I have color and have a vagina at the same time? But
Ooh, color vagina.
They
chocolate.
come in many shades.
Yeah. So like, here's my question, because like, what would you say percentage wise is like the number of Me Tooers that are, or I'll say women of non-color. I don't want to say white women, but I'll say women of non-color.
The beige.
Right.
No, they don't get to have beige because light skinned women
makes
still
sense.
have
okay.
We keep beige.
You're kind of beige.
I'm beige. I'm
You know,
absolutely
and
beige.
she's still.
You're like, oh no, I'm taking that.
No, I own
That's
beige.
like my
She's
palette.
of color.
That's like my palette when I do
printer
video.
When they ask,
Yeah.
I'm beige. Like beige don't age. I gotta keep that. If we give
Yeah.
it away, then there's
Yeah, so that's
Right,
like
yeah.
what, yeah. So, the melanin deficient.
Okay.
So, but like, here's my question though. So, like, what percentage of the Me Tooers are
not women of color.
not women of color? And then if you project that out to the number of non-women of color that did vote for Trump, my problem is this. There are people that are out there that are Me Tooing right now that voted for Trump, which meant that it was okay for him to grab another woman's pussy and you voted for that, but someone tried to grab yours and now like you're up in arms.
There's a problem.
I'm sure there is a fucking overlap that blows my mind wide open. And
I
I'm
mean,
not gonna discredit it.
statistically.
And I hate to jump on this fucking statistic because it's the only statistic that makes me sound like an internet troll who's just like, been like, yeah, but what about the cops' lives?
Right.
But the 53% white woman thing does bother me as I'm trying to identify as a white woman more in spaces for the better of everyone else.
Right.
That
You're one of the good ones.
Yeah, I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Have I made it perfectly clear, everyone?
We get it.
No, but what I'm saying is the 53 just like from a pure research statistic point of view, it's not 53% of white women.
It's only the ones who showed up enough to be hateful.
It's only the ones who showed enough to be, because you know how many white women, like if you think about this, how many people, period, but period women, okay, get it. But how many white women specifically felt indifferent or not interested enough to vote because of their connective culture to, like, no, well, maybe at some point, like just do you know it blows my fucking mind, and again, like, I come from here, so that's where I guess the blowing of the fucking mind. How many over and over again I talk to white comics being my basis of white people that I interact with the most, just being from all over the country and being like, yeah, my parents are Trump supporters. I'm like, what's the tally on this though? Because this is a high percentage.
Yeah.
But like, just think of living in any of those places and being like, I don't want to get in the middle. Before all this happened, before the world was crashing.
But it doesn't matter really, because apathy and indifference are still violence. Because if you don't
I
show
agree.
up, you're still being you're like, I don't care enough to give a shit what happens to you.
100% agree, and the ignorant voter is the scariest voter.
Yeah.
It's like the Nazis saying I was just doing my job.
Yeah. But I think
And
that,
also-
like, not showing up and at all and showing up and making that choice to me are the same thing at this point. Like and even in everyday situations where you see people pull out their phone and there's like white ladies smacking little black boys at pools and stuff,
Right.
and everybody's like, this is terrible, but don't say anything.
Right.
Is the same as going out and actively voting for Trump in my
Right.
mind, because it's just like, how could you watch and be part of that and still be like, it doesn't the answer is like, it doesn't affect me, so like, I'm sorry,
But the
like, it's
people
terrible.
who didn't vote, period, I would imagine with no statistical basis here, so
Because we don't know what they want.
that the pool of people who didn't vote is like per capita kind of even throughout all demographics.
Sure.
So it's just like that statement, which is just like, I never fight against it on the internet and I never fight against it when I hear comics use it in jokes, because honestly, it's really, I went to the Women's March 2 years ago, which was the one Trump
Right
got
after the
signed in,
inauguration,
right?
yeah.
So I went to Washington and I was so uncomfortable. I had 3 signs. I had and I didn't know which sign to hold up. Okay, I had a sign that was pro-Muslim, anti-registry.
Right.
I had a sign that was pro-love, that was easily seen as a queer thing, but it was really about the statement I said before. And I had another one, and I don't even remember. And I walked, and I just didn't picture. I just pictured it being like all Democrats, like a mixed group of people, like I'm used to in a city.
Right.
And it was just like women that knit. And I was like, and they were all wearing knitted things on their heads.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the
and I was
pussy
like,
hats.
And I was like,
What?
I don't know who came up with
and
that.
I looked at
It's a
them,
pussy
and they
hat.
all looked like I felt like my signs, like I felt like I was amongst the enemy at that rally. And I remember the response to that, and the lack of including women of color in the planning and everything, and like, the debates on how it ended up unfolding, and it kind of just like exploded all at once. But that I got it, because at the women's march I was just like, I thought it was you guys that fucking did this shit, but maybe they didn't.
But like,
But
no,
Trump,
but
maybe
I
they just
think
let's
it's-
say
but
like
maybe trying to backpedal.
statistically.
But I think it is.
yeah.
Maybe
Like,
they did just look like it.
the white women who bothered to show up, the majority of them said, "This is what I want." But like, there's this weird individualism that happens where they're like, I can separate my vagina and those issues from my other political views. Like, I could, and this is speaking as if I were that voter. And what I've observed is that these folks can be like, yeah, I want a border wall, and I want these,
But
I want,
also want an abortion.
exactly, I don't want Obamacare, but I want cheap insurance. Like, but I don't understand how you guys don't connect these ideas. So this idea of like, I want Trump, but I don't want people to fully assault me and then to be responsible for the results of that, are
It's
just
like
like, I
buffet
don't get it.
fascism.
But I think it goes back to that full circle moment where you're talking about love, and people don't really understand what actual love is. Like, they don't
Just make
really
the loving
fully
choice and all
the
of those
loving
things,
choice.
and
You were
you'll
talking
be
about the
fine.
loving choice,
And not romantic
but
love,
people
but, like, just
don't
love.
really understand
No,
what a
love.
loving
Love
choice
of
is.
humanity.
Love of
Yeah. For
humanity,
human beings.
love of
Yeah.
human beings, love of people that are beyond you. Like,
All I have to
Uh,
do, I assume on interaction that someone has love in their heart unless they show me otherwise.
right.
And then that doesn't always, because sometimes I get the creepy feeling.
Right, because love in your heart doesn't necessarily mean
I have to follow
you have,
how
you
much
have
love.
love in your heart for yourself and the people around you, but you might not have love in your heart for the person around the corner, the person that you don't know.
Right.
And it's a whole.
They may have too much love, and then it becomes scary, and you need to like
And then
pull out
that's
your
not,
mace.
that's not love anymore.
No, that becomes a session. There's a difference.
So you guys, I've got a selfish question to ask, because I know we need to like run out, but I really want to get your feel on this. Would you guys ever date someone that voted for Jill Stein? So that
I have very strong feelings about this. I don't know if we have time for it, so I'll let other people.
like you can like the most like rapid response that you have.
Nah, B.
Nah.
Just nah.
Nah.
Yeah.
No dating,
Nah.
no. But I have a best friend who's a crazy protesting advocate and believed in it and did it, and I feel very strongly about that choice, and I had to make shift of how I process that person.
So that would be a nah.
Oh.
I would not fuck him because both of us don't like each other's genitals.
Right.
Oh.
So I don't have that issue, but he's like my
Really?
heart. He's my heart, and it actually hurt me, and it took a long time for me to be okay with it's still not okay.
Yeah.
It took a long time for me to process that he did that, and he had his very specific reasons. It was like they're gonna win anyway, but we need to send a message. It's never gonna happen that Green Party. It's never gonna happen that they're gonna feel supported enough unless the numbers are high to look back on. So we're just gonna show our support so we can show that the numbers went up.
So, like, I'm going on a second date, and his thing was kind of similar, and it was kind of like, well, if I was in a swing state, I would have voted for Hillary.
right,
But like I wasn't, so
right.
I voted
That's
for
the argument.
So, but like when he said he voted for Jill Stein, it was just kind of like, oh, I mean, I know it's not Trump, but like, did you not help it? Like,
there's nothing wrong with voting third party. The problem is the time and place that you picked it and the person you chose. Like, B, come on, like right now,
stinks of privilege.
The worst timing.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
Well, hello.
So we are going to wrap this up. But before we go, can you guys tell everyone where they can follow you on social media? What projects do you have going on? I am going to start with you, Beth.
Sure. My show and my brand and my company is called Summon the Goats, like bring those greatest of all times here. So Summon the Goats. Please like it on Instagram. It's a new page, so it makes me feel insecure that there aren't a lot of followers. So follow me on Instagram. And I have this crazy sick show on, what's this next month coming up? August 5th. Sunday, August 5th, 6 p.m. You could see it on Summon the Goats Instagram, so do that.
Yay, that sounds awesome.
Shy.
The Instagrams, the thing with the pictures. Just.chinisha, just.chinisha, CHINISHA. I don't really post fun things, but you can look there. And I don't have anything coming up right now. I'm working on a film series, like a film and talkback series with some lady film collective folks. And like I work on stuff all the time because, you know, paying the bills. So sometimes things are super fun and, you know, people can join in, and other times like I just have to pay my rent. So,
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for stopping in and chatting and having beers with us. This has been Big Talk and Brewskis. Oh, we will be back.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thanks,
you
guys.
are awesome.
Chewy.